Hello and welcome. It is the 13th day of January 2021. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel, currently 9:23 in the morning as I'm doing this video. All bets, trades, and the like with each his own risk and their own reward. And I don't know how I'm going to title it, but it's going to be the area of like why I'm scared or terrified or something in that nature of the dollar. And it's a topic-based video. But it's not a horror movie, but I know like to kind of try to start off with like weak or give the idea of what we are. Well, I mean, you already know what it's going to be like, but we want to lead into things getting more fearful, and it's going to be calm early on. And that's the way a lot of the markets are in general too as well. So the dollar index chart, we can start with that because it's quite boring, but it is what it is. And it's important in a nice sense when you realize global economic monetary conditions. And for many people, myself included, well, maybe you are crossing two different currencies and maybe you get paid in US dollars or you buy in US dollars and whichever other foreign currencies. And well, the differentials can be sometimes interesting where, well, for example, as a Canadian, right now it's like, well, 27% of a differential on the currency. So if there's a US dollar, I can get $1.27 back on my Canadian end. And of course, when I get paid in US dollars, I'm kind of hoping, and maybe if I want to cash a check in, I'm kind of tying the day. Although a lot of times you cash with banks, you have to pay that extra 1% or 2% fee on top of the exchange. But you're looking for the better number. I'd rather get 27% than 20%. Most likely, though, when we look at the dollar index, what's going to happen? We've been in the sideways range. I gotta think that this is going to be going down with gold and silver going up. What happens? I mean, this is currency against the other one. It's a boring chart. It did have this outside month in the big March period of last year. It's obvious to what happened then. Most people know the fundamental things. And it had a small little rally up to a little over 100, but is obviously given back 10% value versus other currencies back to support from around 2018 and areas where it was breaking out in 2015. Also, kind of, but not really, as came back to the resistance of 27, 20, 10, 11-ish or so. But it has to go down. To me, come back to resistance is a range between 83 and like 87, 88, and it's pretty much almost there. But I don't really care too much about this, and this chart doesn't scare me in any form. There's the Canadian-US cross, 0.78, which works out to like 127 again. It's got an interesting monthly setup in here. We can see a little bit of a failed breakdown, how it's had 3 or 4 periods, mostly 18 average of highs, breakout, and yada yada. But I mean, it kind of scares me that if this goes up, that the value of stuff like my DraftKings accounts and what I'll be making will go down, and that's kind of scary. But I look at, and I'll explain later why. And anyone who's able to make any type of income in that's only paid in currency or any type thing, that's a hedge against, well, precious metals, which I don't see losing, and that of cryptocurrencies. So we'll get into that very soon. Well, now it's very soon. And amongst Bitcoin, we've seen it go way up. Well, back in here, I mean, it was even under $20. How many people are wanting, and why is this going up? How many people are getting into Bitcoin because they're scared of the dollar? They're scared of the inflation that comes up. See, the interesting thing about Bitcoin is how many Bitcoin are we going to have? What, 21 million or so? We're at 18 now. We got under 3 million more to make. 20 years, 30 years, however long it might be. And if you're damn good at computer programming and you care, you can know a lot of stuff about this because, well, the code is as transparent as can be. Now, the supply, of course, of U.S. dollars. What's the maximum supply that we're going to have of U.S. fiat debt notes and Canadian currencies and British pounds and the yens and all the other fiat currencies? What's the maximum supply? And how are they scheduled to go out over the years? Question mark, answer. Okay, I think it's a pretty obvious one. And then we have gold, which is pretty much at the same price here. And what's its max supply? Yeah, you know what? There's no fixed number there. But within gold and silver, these are real items. You just can't create out of thin air. You have to literally blood, sweat, and tears pretty much, but a lot of work, a lot of energy, and you're only limited to what you can get. And the free market, of course, in situations like that, if one would exist, would always justify correct prices. Within time, the free market would. I talk about with voting and all this stuff like that. For me, how many times have I voted within my central bank for what I wanted? Meaning, do you want, like, in whichever form, in any type of form, and there is no yes or no to the Federal Reserve, and in Canada, yes or no to the Bank of Canada, so on and so forth with others. Or do I want this instead, and how, or this type of monetary change? And to me, it doesn't matter who's going to be in place as a prime minister, president, leader type situation. You know, the monetary system, the Federal Reserve chairmen, and all those people are all going to just keep on going. But when you buy gold, buy silver, buy cryptos, or even when you're just buying everything that you do and you're exchanging, you are kind of making your, especially on the savings level, you are making your vote in that form. And when you're turning currency into things like gold and silver and Bitcoin and all other different cryptocurrencies and miscellaneous other investments, because I mean, I've thought a lot, well, for what it's worth, for its low volume, on things like comic books and hockey cards and baseball cards and a lot of other miscellaneous high-end items of good collector value, and think, man, it's almost as liquid as gold. I mean, why do I say gold's liquid? Well, gold is liquid because it's pretty easy with limited work and such to turn it into cash or buy it really quickly. I mean, without even, whether it's brick and mortar or whether you do it online these days, buying and selling gold is very easy. But would that be the case for some sort of comic book that, say, today's market goes for $500, $1,200, and is most likely graded, easily recognizable by the industry? And I'm thinking with eBay and different stuff like that, and there's obviously brick and mortar for things like that. Man, that's just almost as good, you know, especially when you know, just like with gold, don't get ripped off when you know how to sell. You may not get a great deal, but you're not going to get a ripped off price either. That's the whole point when you're investing and stuff like that. There's just many other ways. Of course, that's scary too, because when you do that, you're going to turn it into cash if, say, you sell that. And that's just scary holding on to. Because I've actually thought that before. Do we ever get in a world where, okay, I'm turning whatever into cash because maybe you want to buy something, but you realize what you want to buy, well, it's 4 streets down from where you went. And how much is that product going to inflate during the time you walk or drive those 4 streets? Of course, I'm kidding on a sarcastic level for time, but a lot of it can be, okay, in one of those situations, if you're talking about major inflationary days and times, and you could hold cash one day and 2-3 days later, it could be 20, 30, 40% gone during monstrous situations. I'm not saying that'll could happen, or I mean, I think it would be worse on the worst of days, but that's a scary part on that level alone. I'm going to transfer back into cryptocurrencies again. And I'm going to go to the cross of Bitcoin against the US dollar tether, which is pretty much the exact price as it is against the United States dollar. See, as I look at it, the tether acts of that of a dollar. Okay, what's a dollar? What does a dollar look like? Well, before you answer that, what would, and I'm not going to draw it, but imagine in your head that you have something that looks like a dollar, like a piece of paper. You know, it doesn't have to be a dollar. It can be like different size, shape, but it's paper, cardboard. Make it a good material. And on it, it says 4 tires from Goodyear, whichever miscellaneous company, with miscellaneous details. An expiry date that says maybe March 17th, 2022, or whatever, something long ways away. And it's for 4 tires, 2 front, 2 back. What would those tires look like? And you're looking at it now. There's no picture of the tires on there. There's just writes all the details. Maybe it's got the face of the chairman of the company though, or something like that. But even there, even not the company. Maybe the logo. That's better. The logo of the company. And it says those 4 free tires. Can you imagine what those tires will look like in your head? Are they black? Are they? Of course, you know what they look like. But what does a dollar look like? Because it's pretty much like a gift certificate. It's a debt. That's what a dollar is. It's somebody's debt. And really, a dollar is supposed to represent, at least back in the day, that of gold, but it obviously does not do so. So when I'm going to go over what's going on with the tether, just remember that the same things at much larger levels are happening within the real fiat currencies. But before we get into more on the tether, what good as a crypto trader, at least the way I think anyway, would a tether be good? Now, I am scared, literally, and I have been from day one of day trading this stuff, which is almost 4 years now, to trade that of the USDT as a base currency, as a day trading currency. Heck, for about 4, 5, 6, 7 days, I had a little bit, and it was kind of scary just doing that, but not anymore. So, no, not that. Now, how about this? I mean, you can use this to your advantage. Remember back in the day, Bitcoin got to 20? Yeah. And maybe you thought it was overextended at like 10, 11, 12, 15. And maybe you sold all the way from 10 to 20 and your dollar cost average your tether sales to like 15, 16,000. You put them in your hardware wallet. Then the markets went down. And you could take those tethers. You could bring them to any one of those exchanges you choose. And buy whichever coin it was. I mean, there was bigger gains with other coins, of course. But buy them cheaper and get more of those coins. That's a vehicle tool right there with the tether and other ones like the USDC. And you can see how that can work to major advantage for you. Now, the scary part is you buy tether, you sell Bitcoin on the run up. You hold it in your wallet. And at this point, when it goes to 20, it's like I was saying now, how high it can go. Maybe it goes to 25, 30, 40. And at 8, 9, maybe it goes to 12, 14, 16, 20. There it is. Of course, that's not what you say at the time, but you just keep selling. You know it's going to go down. But you know it's going to be time. It could take months and years. So over that time, will anything happen where the ripple might collapse? That has scared me monstrously. I can't do it. I can't sell these coins against the dollar and try to buy them back cheaper. I'm too scared. I refuse to do it. I'll sell it for other. That's why I'll definitely sell it for other coins. Oh, LITECOIN for like Tezos, of course. Of course, I don't trade. Actually, I don't trade that combo. I probably should, but get the idea. And you could end up having a spot where like, maybe it does go back, but your tether becomes worthless and you lose out on the deal. To me, that is a scary, scary situation. And let's take a little bit of a deeper look at the United States tether via that of coin market cap. And we have a chart, bunch of lines. You can't see the dates. I'm going to show them in a bit though. So we have a green line that's kind of straight with a little bit of, I'm trying to think of the medical term for that beep, beep, beep thing that you see in hospitals and stuff. Looks like that you see in a little thing in a hospital. And then we got this that is just went up and went to pretty much nothing. And we got the blue line that started at the very bottom that has just been skyrocketing high. What does each one of these mean? What was the time frame? I got volume I can show. Let's show her now because I can just scroll down and there we go. I'm going to start off in a linear format, then we'll go logarithmic after. So this goes back to 2014, 2015. The blue line represents market cap. Price is in green. And the price against Bitcoin is the one going down. So therefore, the value of the dollar against Bitcoin, you can see how the dollar is just being destroyed. I mean, that's just another way of looking at that. Don't really need that anymore. The importance on the green one. Price is 1.00. Back in here, it went down to like 0.93. That was April of 2017. And then here, 101, 103, 1.5, 1.2% differential, consistently for a good period of time though. So it already has shown that there's been periods of time when it hasn't traded at a par value. But 1-2% difference, especially if you're a long-term trader, what's the big deal? If you're looking to buy back or whatever, or even on whatever trade, even get in or out one way or another, and you're just doing good on the buy low side, sort of like buying something at $20, selling it at 80, maybe buying it back at 42 or 35 and all that type of stuff. 2% on that don't mean anything really much. But that's 2%. So far it's been safe every single time. If you would have, at all the times in the past, wanted to sell whatever coin into Tether, hold it, and then buy it back, you'd be able to do so. Will that continue to be the case? Maybe. But now let's focus on the blue line. That's the circulating supply. Bitcoin. Okay, 21 million max. If you're a computer program, you can pretty much tell when every day how many will be done. It's just, you're a genius when you can do that. But you're genius enough to tell me how many US dollars are going to be created next year, 5 years from now, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So this pretty much works the same way as the Fed doesn't to a degree, but this is US dollar Tether, not US dollar. Back in the spring of 2015, the market cap was $250,000. It was low. 2016, $5 million. This is the summer, start of the summer. Is it easy to believe that a company that could make a cryptocurrency could they back it up and have 5 million of them and back it up? Could you believe that person, that company has $5 million? And of course, I'm sarcastic because, like, yeah, there's a lot of people and there's a lot of companies that can state. I mean, you talk about a lot of times you want to pool people together, pool your cash, my cash, and their cash for big numbers. At 5 million. I mean, yeah, some people would have to, of course, but there's a lot of people that are like, okay, I can do that, and I still got a lot of cash left over. So I can believe they had that then. Now this thing continues to rise. Now you can start, this is like linear versus logarithmic. You can tell, like, okay, well, stuff moved, but it's such low that, I mean, now you can start to see with your eyes that things are moving. Well, what's this number here? $1 billion. Well, now that's telling me, now this is now where the market's nearing its top, December 29th, Christmas of 2017. Now we're talking serious numbers for a business now at 1 billion. Because now a lot of those rich people do have to pull money together. I mean, 5 million, yeah, of course that one person or definitely that one company can do it. Well, how about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson? Can he put in $1.2 billion right now? Probably not. I don't check his net worth or anything, but I mean, maybe. I mean, who knows? He's got the level where if he wanted to kick ass, he could be worth 10 maybe or 20 billion. I don't know, but still, I'm saying. Not many people and even companies can get into this number. And then it even goes up a bit more in here to 2.4. Yeah, it's pretty much in the same area, 2.8. Now we're August of 2018. 2.8 billion, again, a respectable business number for what you could have. And you could back, I could see how it could be backed. And I mean, other than the fact of traditionally people just aren't honest in this business pretty much since day one of, yeah, we're going to hold your gold, silver, cash, however it might be, and we're just going to, yep, this guy's got 20, this guy's got 100. The sum of everybody is 2,500. We got 2,500 in the safe. No. Or safes, whatever. But then it goes back down. I don't know why, but I know there's just interesting stuff. You can see this little blimp in here as all this stuff here was going on too. Then it starts to rise again. So here we're into 2019. And the volume's really picking up too. When you look at the volume, it's getting monstrous as well. $4 billion in August of 2019. And then you get into 6 billion. Then another, what's going on here? 9 billion. And then up to this level, about 10. And what has just went on since pretty much August 27th? What is this going on? I mean, this has been a long time. All of September, October, November, and December. And we're almost halfway through January. We're almost completing 5 months of this. It was, again, at 10 billion. Now it has went up to 24. So it has went up 150% or 2.5x in around 5 months' time. I mean, this scares the living crap out of me now. Do we just have a whole, like, who are the peoples that have $24 billion? And if it's backed, then it's backed. Oh, wow, those people are rich, and wow. But to me, this is a very, very scary situation where if you're looking at something like, what's the chances that the US dollar and generally all major fiat currencies go to zero this year and even into next year? Pretty damn low. And when I say zero, practically nothing. Extreme loss is extreme inflation. Extreme loss of value. Pretty close to low. What's the chances that it could be decent? Sure, we could have 20, 30% here and there, maybe 40% for 1 year, but that's not extreme at 40% for a year. We're talking collapse, death based on such type moves. Venezuela has been seeing it for quite some time. They're not the only country. And I haven't been really researching too much of other ones, but I do know they exist. There's a couple in the Middle East as well, but that's where you go through like pretty much just total destruction of your currency. But with a tether, I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen this year. And even on the earlier stages, I'm not making any predictions, but to me, this is a scary, scary old deal. Let's put this on a logarithmic scale now. Now from here, this doesn't look as scary. However, I'm going to put this into perspective. Now the numbers here, that's not these numbers, but to me it looks like, oh my goodness, look at this. They raised it at a decent, like the big rise would have been from that of December 29, 2016, all the way to February of 2018. And that's when it went from 7 million to 2 billion. So the whole run itself was monstrously big. And do I think there was a lot of, oh my goodness, that was bad, that was wrong, that's going to be problematic, that's it, that is problematic? Probably, I don't know. But the one way I look at this is, and because I've been there, it's easy for me to understand it, so I'm going to hope to try to explain it the best as you can. I haven't really been there, but I've been there as far as calculating, understanding how you've been. So no, I kind of only partially been there, because the whole point is you don't get there. Let's just assume you find a game where you can gamble and win. And I guess the easy ones are poker and sports betting and things like that. If you take somebody like a Daniel Negreanu poker player and you start at the low stakes, you bring your bankroll from $1,000 to $10,000, $100,000, million, and several millions after that. The early stage is when you see your bankroll on a logarithmic level going from 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 is going to look a lot like that. And then the upper games just will go up at a lower rate of ascent. Of course, one reason for that is because the games get tougher. You don't win the same rate of return. You can't put the same types of stakes in play. But also that money just doesn't exist. And it's just, that's the whole point of where I'm going on this. It just doesn't exist. These numbers are kind of getting out of hand. And that could cause a problem. Now, with that being said, what would that mean for the markets and how would things react? These tidbits of different stuff on a tangible level in a situation of a tether collapse. And we'll go back to a Bitcoin chart. You can go any altcoin against the dollar. And it's irrelevant what price and even really what its movements would be for what I'm going to explain on this, whether it's up, down, or sideways, because it's all going to react to the point of much different prices. So let's hypothetically assume, for simple mathematics, that this number is $33,333, basically 1/3 of 100,000, against not the Tether, but against the dollar on Coinbase and on Bitstamp and stuff like that. Now this one wouldn't say 34,000. Oh, maybe it might say 34,800 because it would probably be higher. Would people be looking to get in or out of Tether as it's collapsing? At least the holders who have been holding it or looking to be getting into it. People would be selling it. So they'd be buying all of these other coins, the Bitcoin, the Litecoin, the Theta, the Bitcoin Cash, the Teslas, the Ethereums, and there's hundreds, well, dozens more. So all of them is going to have a different price. Now, when there's like a 5%, say if it's a 10% differential, and one would be, the main would be 33,000, the other one would be close to 37,000. And that's happened before. And you just got to say, oh my goodness, I got the Tether, I just got to pay the piper. But how would it look if it got way out of hand? If the Tether lost 3 times its value, that means you might see it up against, say USDC was fine. There's like a 0.033 or 3 crossing on that. Or Bitcoin would be $33,000 on Bitstamp and $100,000 against the Tether. And then if you're holding it, what do? And you got the Tether. Do you just say, oh, it's not right, it's a hike? I'm not going to sell it at $100,000. I'm not going to buy it at $100,000. That's just way too expensive. Okay, continue to hold it then. See what happens moving forward. It could be worth nothing to the point where you can't even buy Bitcoin for $1 million when it's selling for $20,000 maybe later. I don't know. I'm just saying the whole point. Maybe $100,000 because it goes up. I'm not going to try to predict the market movement of Bitcoin in a situation of an extreme Tether collapse, other than extreme volatility. So that would be really how things would go. And to me, that is a very scary situation. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.